beautiful creators. Today another video with commentary of AI, how it can mislead you, how it can misguide your path back into the divine, and how important it is truly to start the application of light coding the self into this new world, because we are accelerating very fast in with the shift that is going on, termed the axis shift for those not so much aware. And there's always people who do not want to change, who do not want to shift, who do not want to move forward. So here I'm truly talking about how we can get forward, how that configures in the brain with a design center, how we can come up with our own truth, with our own lightning, with our own ascension movement, and also moving beyond what is presented on earth today. And therefore I find it so interesting to present again the malfunctioning of AI, how it was commenting or could not decipher the knowledge, the intelligence that lies behind it. So be very careful, as I will explain here with a new light code that is extremely powerful to assist you, to assist your family, to assist your forward movement, if only you are willing to move through a process that is termed your direct connect back into your source, that can only be done through meditational practices, and that are not connected to anything in the old ways of doing so, which I will explain as well, because it surprised me so much how off it is. So the design here that you can align to, that I'm bringing to today, is this one called Blue Truth and the White Triangle Ascension Gateway, which is a very important code, as I will explain it, because the artwork here presented is actually a multi-dimensional crystalline triangular form that you can see very much coming to the forefront. And so it is encased in a vibrant blue, let's say flame, a luminous, rather etheric, photonic living light configuration. I term it etheric because we are all moving from the old platforms into a higher light body that requires the ascent, that requires the bridge of light, that requires that truth, that requires that white purification. And AI always digs into old consciousness. It cannot decipher how that moves with present day crystalline grids. So it brings a right triangle, always brings through transformation and purification. And so here that is very centralized in this particular geometric organic structure. So I actually present you with a three-sided portal or energetic frame that is suspended within crystalline light grids, etheric purity, which I will explain, and flowing currents, which is the way of the divine, to direct connect to your source. So here with that design, you'll never be stuck on consciousness. You will flow out of anything that is still fear, except if we want to stay and swim in these fear syndromes. That's gonna be very hard for people. So the divine is making it actually very easy for anybody to step into ascension right now, as the movement into a crystalline grid is what it requires to remain in a blue flame of truth that actually carries one in to the celestial, universal, etheric realms that are very important. Because I have explained before, if we remove the soul consciousness and we remove the breathing system, the breath is all that you have. And although the breath is being taught on an extreme, but extreme low soul consciousness, while the whole purpose of being on earth is actually transcending soul back into spirit consciousness. So the levels of soul and moving into the eternal vibrations that we truly are is actually incorporating these vibrations, setting in that light foundation that offers the opening into the eternal breathing, and that the eternal breathing offers the gate into an celestial, universal, omni form where you can connect with all cosmological spaces. And then that is the platform where the etheric breath can open up, where you feel light forms coming through at all times, where you open the gate into the eye of the divine from the pineal and the amygdala in all the way in the pituitary gland. And that I've seen, as well as I was saying, like the fears of consciousness, embedded in humanity is stationed in the amygdala. It couldn't be more off, dear creators. It couldn't be more. And so, well, at times I must say I have a big laugh, because I have not a big laugh when it comes to bringing that information to humanity and cutting your path down by the millions. But it is still intentional if you are still aligned to the matrix of manipulation and control versus the purification process in a crystalline grid. So let me explain further here. The blue flame of truth that you can see flaming through the triangle carries one all the way into these living light realms. I'm saying living light. Living light does not exist in soul. It only exists in spiritual consciousness that needs to be developed from a light body that has the entire new tree of life. No old consciousness, everything in evolution, 22 seraphots, 22 spheres of light, 22 steps to rise above in consciousness. So it comes with alignment of the etherical breath that is also a key into development coming from the Grand Master Enoch, or the Keys of Enoch, the Book of Knowledge, if you know that one. That needs upgraded in evolution massively. It's interesting, but still it's completely off. It was due to the past. There's a lot of interesting information in there, but be careful. So here the Keys of Enoch are to be integrated in the body, are to be connected with, to be repolished, and to bring through new information on an everyday level. So anyone in alignment or willing to go in alignment to truth is continuously blowing out soul, blowing out the astral plane, blowing out the birth chart, and reconnecting to your essence, where you took the portal into the descent actually in your birth canal. So when we eliminate that, we purify the body into multiple light configurations that has no old geometry, that has no geometry that just, comes through atomic solids or these things. That is that and gone. And reason why these truths are coming out is because the restoration on the planet is coming to a culmination. It's coming full circle, so that the planet is turning its axis shift into the purification. So many people not willing to align to the divine, not willing to move out of soul into their spiritual consciousness, omnipresence, and name it so much further, they may have a hard time breathing, because when we don't uplift the lungs, the cardiac system, not upgrading the thymus gland, all the glands, the thyroid, the pavitoid in the back that serves as an interdimensional communication system with all species in divine alignment, in divine will, if you will. So the training into the universal celestial bodies brings through crystal clear codes, crystal clear consciousness, transcends the soul. It brings in crystalline grid updates, and so especially here with the eternal grids, anybody at this time can open up their consciousness, connect to the supreme light, eternal crystalline grids opened up under the earth, through all the layers of the earth, all around the earth, squeezing up the matrix. That's becoming very powerful. Reason why the ecology, the geology of the earth is changing massively. The soil is changing, is disrupting. Volcanoes are coming out. Storms are popping up. We are seeing them right now, and it's not gonna stop. It's not gonna stop. It's part of the purification. It's gonna intensify. It's gonna accelerate. A reason for these videos I bring out, that's for those who really wanna resurrect and go there in having a really enjoyable life, enjoying the purification, enjoying the process of transitioning, and also communicating with the frequencies that are surrounding this particular triangle. And that is, we see like wing-like petal textures, photonic light wrapping around, emanating from the edges, coming together, emanating, expanding in and out. So these spiralized feathered structures suggest actually connectivity with all the elementals, with angelic kingdoms, if you will, the etheric realms, guardianships, unfolding multi-dimensional options for transcending. So we multiply the body over multiple fractions. So the old light body, so many talked about that old macabre is not going to go anywhere. I mean, it's dead, it's fractured, it's has been archived. I wouldn't even dare tapping into it. It makes no sense at all. And that is what we see in, as well as in AI, large, huge spiritual groupings that, keep on gathering other people that seem to channel new consciousness, are all in the old syndrome. And when you actually are part of a large grouping that has extreme levels of dense consciousness, you become that because you tap into it, you allow it, you allow to agree with all those levels. So I think that's a very dangerous thing as well. So that is all for the self to ponder upon, because in esoteric traditions here, the blue way, the blue carries the frequency of true spiritual movement. It is higher mental clarity. It is also opening up higher communication with celestial universal intelligences and many, many different forms of life, because also alignment to divine will is imperative to override free will. Free will is not going anywhere. If I would follow my free will, I would be dead and gone. That crumbles all of the time. But if you're in the divine will, the divine will always has the best intentions, moves you forward, propels you forward, supports you, brings through what you need to move on your path. What is your purpose, your passion? It all comes true. And so, I'm sorry, some aircrafts coming through. They don't bother me. So that's imperative. And so also anything lesser than that is actually being blown off the earth plane. everybody refusing transition may have a very difficult time. Why would anybody fear transition? Because the energetic transmission tool here brings to higher truth, accelerated spiritual development, and also team training, which is a necessity. So training with all teams in etheric light, where everybody becomes visible. There's nothing in the invisible worlds anymore. There's no such thing as the nonsense about the void. It's just, you know, a huge gate where you start to see, just see everything. So I explored a little bit on the pineal gland in the former videos, and I will come back to that because it's a huge ship of transformation that needs, you know, to have deleted the old induction of the introduce mechanical ships in the body and the brain through whatever means that would over here. So in a minute I will explain the atrocities of AI, the commentary, and how it rather gets people off track than on track. So here, when we come back to that design, the crystalline blue way, what you can see in the background, actually symbolizes the fabric of a re-encoded reality we are living right now that aligns to new interdimensional templates. As we all know, the earth has gone off, it has gone off into many fractured pieces, cutting off, first of all, unity, cutting off male-female balances. And so the centerpiece here, what you can see, is a three-sided, twisted geometrical form that is, many would call that Penrose triangle, an impossible object, but to me it's a very natural object that keeps on pulsing, and that is where you have that twisted geometrical form in it, creating that beautiful twist. So here, these, let's say it creates a sense of infinity when focusing on it, multidimensionality, and truly brings through the dissolution of linear boundaries when truly connecting on a deeper layer. Like I could put out a meditation of 1 or 2 hours speaking that fast, bringing the alignments through what a white ray can do, what a blue ray can do. Because here we have these winged motives, the flowing, the feather light expansions, the mathematics that is a geometry, the symbol that interplays with structure symbolizes flow at the same time. So the feathered form symbolizes actually your ascension that moves in a lighter and lighter vibration. Not only light, but light in the body. And so we cannot have these dense foods being presented and piled with synthetics anymore. And so here also it brings to loads of support, it brings to guidance, it brings to serenity, it brings to peace. Peace eliminates the highest level of fear ever witnessed, symbolizing, you know, a dynamic movement of your authentic life force and light body energetic equation. So here, the backdrop here is a deep electronic or electric blue filled with this, you know, these flames, these blue flames that are wave patterns, creating grids, and these elements suggest a deep movement of transformation and also the presence of very, very subtle energies of frequencies that I receive during my meditation. So blue is ultimately always connected to Buddha. Buddha never got fractured. It's Christ, the white purification, that got fractured, and reason why it's being restructured all over the globe, reason why you feel those changes, and thus flowing between blue and white. On a soul level, you move in your light body, then you move blue and white into an celestial configuration. Blue and white universal consciousness opens pure crystal clear design centers, which is where I'm at, where I receive the codes, and where the divine is explaining that how the old doesn't work anymore. So it brings through an extreme calm, serene vibration of the higher realms, enhancing intuition growth, but also embracing the higher levels of truth, which is very important. And so embracing these truth levels that can go in many different perspectives, because if I go, I'll show you here a document actually where AI explain like, okay, where you want to go with the purpose of blue way. I mean, it makes me sick. I had a big laugh. I need to laugh about it, because I need to transcend the energies that AI possibly brings through. So here they're saying the purpose of the color blue is not universally recognized across mainstream spiritual tradition, but appears in certain esoteric, metaphysical, New Age teachings. Here is an interpretation. So they see the spiritual frequency of the blue way, often described as a spiritual frequency or energy connected with higher truth, linked to the throat and chakra. Throat and chakra. These are two different things for me. For AI, it's still throat chakra. But AI cannot remember, right? It's a machine. So here, you cannot dig into blue truth when residing in the chakra system. So the divine suggested to open up, to remove the killing fields of what once was a chakra system, and bring that back into energetic wheels that open up one tube, one pillar, one with the one, once again, where one with the one was basically killed all over the planet, and reason why all relationships, or most of them, are so fractured, or I mean, I haven't seen much love in relationships, to be honest, and I'm happy to live by myself. So here, because it's not the age, the return with the perfect eternal mate is coming true. Most of them, they are not on the planet, and you will see them in photonic light. And I cannot see anybody in physical light living with somebody in photonic light right now, right? So, but it's coming true, and so the roller coaster, the transition, the accelerated movement is bringing here an end to the atrocities that the earth suffered. And so here also the atrocities, if we think about child trafficking, we think about women being abused, we think about all the manipulative, the control in jobs, and you know, so whatever happened to the male, the female held on their purity. And so that is going to rise again, and so people are gonna go nuts somehow, because that balance is being created. So we will see a lot more happening with relationships cracking into pieces. So another thing, AI says that blue is believed to assist individuals and humanity as an awakening into higher consciousness, embracing truth and authentic self. And it helps and clear blockages related to communication. I mean, that is so far off of truth. If I would go on, I could go on for 1 hour explaining the blue way, because when they think self-expression, communication, and the fear of speaking truth doesn't come to the blue way, it comes to a way that has been taken off the planet to the matrix as well, but that I teach as well for those willing to move into their light body, their universal bodies. And that comes through the dark violet ray, which is an extreme deep purple ray, as deep, almost black purple. And that is where all the elements are being restructured, and that is the reason why the elements, the elementals, are going to speak loud, which we are seeing now. They communicate. You can see them communicate, right? The storms going on, the fires and whatever. It's massive all over the airplane. So here, I mean, whatever I get here, when they talk about, AI, about the white ray, I will show you that document here. It's universally recognized as flawlessness, as innocence, as being untouched by negativity. If that would be true, then would we be very happy, fearless, and living a life, in complete peace and tranquility. And so they also say white contains all the colors of the visible spectrum, symbolizing unity, wholeness, and the culmination of spiritual growth. I don't agree either. White doesn't hold that. White has 3 different spectrums. So we have pure white, opaque white. We have the invisible ray, I don't know if I have a crystal here, here, that's white transparency, right? The white you see through a crystal. And then we have cream white, which is the highest spectrum of white. So that purification only comes through when having educated the self beyond the 12 former ways of creation, or the Merkava, replacing the Merkava, that is your light body with the creational rays. Then we move into the higher ways that start off with the clear way, the turquoise way, the let's say the aquamarine way, all these higher, finer ways that are copper tones, the copper way, platinum way, and all those. And so when that is being integrated, that takes months, then the white ray can come into the forefront, work together as a dragon wave. And that is what I presented in my design here, and reason why it is an Ascension gateway. So everybody can at this time tap into it when at least having that crystalline grid. I will talk later what AI is saying about the crystalline grid. Oh boy, that it takes me off. I'm so surprised that consciousness is so low, and I did go to many different AI platforms and created some sort of a resume, which one was the best, but they all create the same stuff somehow. Some are better at certain things and others are better at certain things. So here they say peace and tranquility, protection, cleansing I would agree upon. Peace and tranquility definitely doesn't come to a white ray. White is calming, they say. I show you. It is serene. It's often used to promote peace, clarity, and sense of order in both mind and environment. Gosh, tell you something. Do you know a Scorpio in your life that has peace, tranquility? No. I know, that's water flow. They move, and they never tranquil anyways. It is definitely purifying. It carries definitely high level. intuition. And so it is the purification process that goes not only into opening up a higher level communication, purification, it rewires the brain also in a new circulation system. And that is the most important step in consciousness when working with the right way. So here, then they talk about, I don't want to know about traditions. What are we to do with traditions today if an evolution every day is going to be different from now on? The old evaporates, is being archived. So what are we doing with old stuff here? So here they also say, like, blue is dominance. The overall blue palette connects to the signs of the throat and the third eye. I mean, no. I mean, I'm not taking this as so off, and then yeah, well, it's getting too much. So you have an idea why, and if you apply it, you can understand the why actually, because why is so important, and because also it eliminates fear from the self. So here, when coming back here, as I explained here in that very powerful design, that is a design anybody can apply, sudden 1 hour meditation with it aligned to each different item, so that takes at least 1 hour. If you align to a crystal grid, you align to the ley lines of the earth, you align to the perfection of a crystalline grid, how it needs to be set in, and how blue ray can open up from the level of consciousness where you are at, how you can apply that into the higher form where the triangle transforms, and so on. So that is how I communicate when bringing through the alignments, and you can listen to it through a video and just breathe it through, uplift the breath, breathe it through, bring the breath at least to the eternal breathing. There is a very interesting 1 hour or 2 hours online, I don't know, about resurrecting the self into the eternal breath, the eternal platform, where you start to eliminate the atrocities that happened and open up the numerals of the divine into the 555 and the 888, which lifts your vibration very, very quickly. And yeah, it's also intentional. So here I had this question to AI, as I deem it the most important thing to connect with actually, is how do crystalline grid come into creation as an energetic framework. And so here I'll show you, I find it very valuable, these answers, because you could learn through them. And each answer I will explain how I agree 0.0% and explain the truth behind it. Because here, what do I need to say? Is it all falseness? Is it just old stuff that is not working anymore? So their perspective on personal crystal grids are intentional arrangements of crystals, geometrical patterns designed to amplify energies for healing manifestations or spiritual growth. Intentional, you need knowledge. Intention comes afterwards. So they say, I'll show you. Set your intention. Clearly define the purpose of your grid, such as healing, abundance, protection. This intention guides every step of the process. Okay. Select crystals. Before I read, I say no. Choose stones based on their energetic properties and how they align with your intention. Each crystal type offers unique frequencies. Yes, of course, each crystal has a unique frequencies, but we need the knowledge. We need to set the intention and have the knowledge on which grid we are going to align. If you align to a foundational grid, and that's it, that's what you align to. If a meditation you're required to open up, let's say the combination of a white, a crystalline, a gold grid, then you need to have that knowledge, how it's been set up, how it functions, what it brings to. You need the knowledge. Then each crystal grid is assigned to one specific crystals. So I'm not gonna work with a crystalline grid in Peru with a crystal from Madagascar. No, thank you. Knowledge is needed, and reason why so many people are getting off track and not being aligned to the divine, directly to their source, directed to what is more than available, and especially directed to what is becoming a necessity, and which crystal grids are going to assist you to move forward very, very quickly. And then the worst of all is choose a geometric pattern. Choose. Whoa, I've never seen anything like it. Sacred geometry shapes like circles, hexagons, spirals are used as a foundation. These patterns are believed to enhance the flow of energy and mirror universal order. Nothing could be so off as this. First of all, we do not choose. In alignment, you align to what you get, to what divine will, divine alignment brings true. So, starting from a foundational alignment in a light body that has a diamond shape, you start off from a diamond shape, if that is the least what you have. And then you start opening up crystalline patterns. You open the breathing system from one level to the next. You ask your source, what are the best crystals today for you to work with? And if you don't have that crystal, you align to the wave of that crystal. I never choose my geometrical shapes. That's the highest nonsense I've ever seen, because we need to align to divine design. Divine design brings to the perfect pattern that you need. And the old shapes, the old forms people are sometimes working with are not going to format in this new world because it pertains to the old world. That's a bit of logic, right? So here we have a shape of a diamond, for example. We open up frequencies, rewiring in the brain. We invite the alignment to where our consciousness can reach. It can be in soul consciousness and purifying in the ladder all the way into celestial, universal, omnipresent consciousness. Some people are in celestial consciousness. Those are working with me, doing the alignment, celestial, universally, feel those vibrations all of this time spiraling and opening up the eye to the next level, which takes huge trainings, but it is so interesting because you always align to knowledge, divine alignment, direct connect to your source, your eternal connectivity to the eternal gate. That is imperative to not go offline. And then the knowledge of all the alignments coming through. And then the geometry opens up from itself. So it needs a lot of purification, integration, knowledge, repolishing consciousness into the next and next level until you're ready to open your particular design center that could be possibly a geometrical pattern connected to another one, connected to another one, connected to other patterns. All right, so here clearing up your space with crystals is very important as well, is what they say. Purify both the environment and the stones using methods like smudging, sound, sunlight, water, to clear anything. This makes me go nauseous. Since when does a crystal needs to be purified when the entire globe at this particular time is being infused with the purification procedures of the highest level, divine will, supreme light, eternal crystal grids that purify anything 24/7, and reason for the great axis shift happening. I mean, that is useless for people. It cuts people off. It gets them in the wrong direction. So really AI. And then they say you need to arrange the crystals and focus stone at the heart of the grid, and then you add supporting stones in the chosen geometrical outlet, and then this arrangement channels and amplifies energy. I mean, I cannot read this. This is so off. I mean, the heart has been crushed all over the globe. And don't come up with telling me like the heart is going to be healed in the first place. Everything else in the body, in the multiple expansive energy fields, need to be reset first into the eye of the divine, the multiple eyes, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth eye, opening up multidimensional 360 degrees, which takes some work to get there, but it's all so interesting. And then you open up the frequencies of the heart configuration where male, female particles of light start to bounce back and open up. But then again, you would be back in the house of light, the house of Shambhala. So I cannot agree. And so here, well, it goes on and on. Yeah, I'm looking at it, and it just, you know, I don't find it worthy to go on reading through it, because it's you know, it cuts me off. It is it's no good. And so I'm just giving you an option here. There's being aware that I'm definitely open to anybody receiving their own light designs, and that goes from multiple consciousness levels. So in order to receive light codes such as this particular code, Ascension Gateway, with the blue way of truth and the white triangle that moves through multiple spaces in order to open that particular space. And so at times we need a very high level purified diet, zero synthetics, polishing the diet, 0% food that pertains to other species, that pertains, and then fasting procedures, high level fitness for the circulation to come through. So the white way and the blue way for the circulation are excellent. And so because in order to get a crystalline vision, actually, that is not blurry or in the astral fields, remember, clearing into the higher divine, seeing your designs comes with eliminating the birth chart, the astral dream fields that are piled with so much nonsense, and reason why the you know, the broken fields, what we see, where everything started to broke off, many bring through all that airy fairy nonsense that is among Shasta, and that is now being repaired, goes all the way back to the Mount Everest, goes all the way back to Tibet, goes all the way back to Nepal, goes in the high mountainous high level vibrations where the air is very pure, where you need the ethereal air actually to open up. And so here it is a call to humanity to stop living in fear, allow the self to settle in with a light body, a simple foundation. And the grid, by the way, if you want to really read an article about the crystalline grid, what it does, how it brings to information, how it brings to support, how it opens the eye, how it uplifts consciousness, and so much for it, you can read that on my website. That's all for free. Of course, it's just information, and it's a lot because it brings to a higher level awakening to the self for those who want to move forward, because there's so many fears people are connected to, and when we continue to live in fear, we continue to go through with a collapse. And I know there's many people at this time who want to move beyond that. And so, because fear is a survival mechanism that is hardwired in the human brain, and AI would say in the amygdala. And again, that is off. That's rather, the amygdala is reserved for an eternal gateway with many, many beautiful designs such as this one. And that is where the higher copper ray, platinum rays would come through. And so here, fear always creates that fight and flight process, because it's connected to danger. It was embedded in your brain through birth. And so here it's also many, many learned conditions through life experiences, conditioning from teachers, conditioning from parents, conditioning from friends, and so much. So it's important to understand, to level up with truth on an everyday level. Also, the code of truth starts eliminating and eliminating. I have a very small elimination here on fear if you want to do that. And it's about connecting and with the self, and really communicating with the self. If you want to release it, then go through it. For in 1 week time, you're completely released from the fear syndrome. And so, because otherwise everything becomes ingrained like an automatic ticker tape to keep you in low consciousness. And so, because there's a lot of emotional, psychological complexity that is connected to fear, because fear cannot possibly be rational. It's always triggered by something. And so many people react to it like it's a threat. It actually is a threat, because the suffering from it is so high. And so that the only understanding we need at this time is understand that it was intentional, that it's not nothing natural that used to be here on the planet. It was created by the matrix. The soul was created by the matrix. It doesn't exist in divine consciousness. In divine consciousness, we are spiritual beings, not soul beings. So here, fear also creates so many levels of chronic stress in modern life. So, people lose jobs, people have financial insecurities, people have concerns about health, concerns about relationships. They're not going to work anyways. It's all collapsing. Why being tied so much to it? The only thing to do at this time to truly move forward out of anything is release that chronic fear, that anxiety, that is a habit, and allow the change to come through. That means we need to discern and restructure our life. Are we going to bring in more discipline, meditate 3 times, like 15 minutes on fear a day? You would be a different person in 1 week time. And so many times it's also very, very difficult to address the root cause of fear. And I understand, because many people grew up in very, very difficult parental circumstances, and so there's not a very, very quick fix for those things. They may be more, or they may benefit from more individual connectivity and help in healing, or their which I also do in my healing session. So overcoming that, oftentimes it requires self-awareness, it requires acceptance, from acceptance moving into a larger level of exposure, and then with professional help you can truly blow it out, evaporate it, and remove it from the energy field, from the home, from the hood, the brain, the body, because everything in life is interlinked actually. And so here, that is the first thing we could do, besides stopping to believe that it's really hard to eliminate fear. It's not. It takes some time. It takes a lot of knowledge how to do it. It takes professional guidance. It takes the correct meditational alignment, and then it becomes very, very powerful, because you will instinctively be guided to clear out the entire glandular system, to clear out as well the kidneys and the lymph node that are responsible for the flow of emotions, so the flow of water embedded, and reason why we see the planet reacting with the purification of massive armies of light brigades that are planting over the planet and starting out the purification process, because I mean, I do not have to explain how polluted the oceans are, how polluted the soil, how mistreated everything is. And so that huge river of living light is coming through, and we cannot even remember this at this time. And that is also very, very important. So to realize that there is that is very important at this particular time. If you're willing to move out of the accelerated difficult times, then you can choose to go into a light body, either aligned to light codes all of the time that will upgrade you massively as well, because integrating a light code takes time. I mean, with this blue way of through this triangle here, I will bring in alignments that you will not find on a Google machine. That will be alignments that are straightly channeled, connected to the know in evolution. So it will not contain any level of information of consciousness of last year and anything before that, because that is needed. Because when you freshly channel that consciousness coming through, there is no fear, there's only connectivity, there is only linking in, there is only support, there is only assistance, there is only understanding. And so we rise into unity again. And so that is why we see everything. And so if you're willing to move into that, and or just, you know, anyone willing to move into light body, especially into their universal self, that takes that body directly into opening light codes and deciphering what it is. It also takes working with the elements and how to communicate with the elements, knowing what an element hosts. For example, if the I in the divine is in the Mount Everest, why is it in the Mount Everest? Where is the I, the Omni-I connected to? How does it link to the Mount Everest? How are other mountains connected to the flow of living light? What do these mountains host? Why is it so difficult to climb the Mount Everest? What, you know? And so we could go on and on and on. So information is very, very important. And getting off that very misinformed, nonsensical ladder that is being presented on the earth. And so there is nothing airy-fairy in spiritual growth unless we go in soul consciousness and believe everything that is out there on the Google machine. If we believe that is, I mean, why or how come that all these bigger spiritual institutions still are dwelling in the old, are collapsing in the old, and are not moving forward and just repeating the old? That is one question that reveals all the other things. How come they never come up with something new? How come they keep on digging in the same? It's because consciousness is screwed in that same old pattern. And when it's not open to evolution, it's not open to a direct connect to source, guidance, source information, and you get information on a soul, low astral level, it will not transform you. Because when you channel your information on a very high level, you feel the pulses, you work with the transformation into particles of light. These particle moves into light waves. And so the science is still struggling with the difference between light particles and light waves, and merging them or not merging them. And I get tired of so much nonsense pulling out. It is a structure. If you incorporate it, you get that knowledge. So you move from light particles into light particle waves. From light waves you move into design patterns such as this design I'm bringing here. And from these design you're guiding further and further and further. So there's no fishing for that knowledge or truth, because right now the divine is actually very much black and white. It either checkmates you in the old and you get drawn right, or you have the option to remove it, to move in with divine will, divine consciousness, wise, do the work it takes, get in there and get the truth in evolution and change 100 degrees every day, or 360 degrees, whatever. It doesn't even matter. What matters is where are you at. And if you want change, light coding is the way to go, because we are moving in to photonic light, where the body becomes transparency, where what once was known as the 12 strands DNA that moves into an celestial universal glandular system. And so that is what I'm working about, around getting my information right now. So I hope somehow it was interesting for you on some level, that you could learn from it. And if you want to line to my newsletter or get more information, and please let me know in the comments how you feel about AI informative levels. Do you work with it? Do you like it? How do you work with it? Do you believe it? Because oftentimes it's presented like this is really the truth, unless you ask them. And I can see that they will tell you that they cannot go further because they have not been encoded further than something. So it's not a brain, you know, remember that. Okay, thank you so much for supporting my channel, subscribing. Leave a comment and allow the community here to grow. And the more we grow together, the more videos, the more truths will come out. Thank you so much, Charlie.